offend you that I work at the State Department or anything like that? I work for the Office of the Legal Advisor.
Okay.
These are adjudications, basically.
Uh-huh.
So issuances and refusals.
Sometimes I do say it to cab drivers that are from like Hispanic descent.
Yeah.
I'm like, don't talk to the police, you know. I'm just saying, like, don't admit the truth. If you want a loophole, keep your mouth shut.
Uh-huh.
The one group of people that I'm not a huge fan of, Yemeni people.
Really?
I hate them with a passion. They're such awful people in the application process.
In the application process.
They are
They're
the
not
most
easy to deal
conniving
with.
group of folks next to Indians.
Uh-huh.
Bangladeshi people. A lot of the State Department is filled with Jewish people. Terrible Jewish people too. Really garbage people.
White people? Okay.
It's really what it comes down to. It's a culture of hatred, ultimately, and it's a culture of dominance. I'm not going to allow that anymore. We need to create our own canary mission. We'll fight fire with fire.
There will be no more sanctuary cities?
No way. Okay. No way. No more sanctuary cities. I wouldn't even say 4 years. I'd say give it to the end of the year. Sanctuary cities are over. There are no more sanctuary cities as far as the federal government's concerned. What a sanctuary city means is they are harboring criminals. They are harboring illegal aliens. And if you're tipping someone off when there is going to be an ICE raid, DHS raid, we will find you and we will prosecute you. That jeopardizes the lives of our great men and women in law enforcement. Not going to happen anymore. It's a new day and we're coming after you.
Treason, 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 sedition, sedition, sedition. This episode, we're going into the treasonous, seditious nature of what's going on in American politics. And I'm going to start with Hollywood and then work my way backwards, right? Because culturally, Hollywood is a part of the brainwashing mechanism that is influencing our population. But I want you to understand that many of these people in Hollywood clearly are like witches. I mean, like full-on witches. Like, look at this woman. Sex and the City star Cynthia Nixon's trans child is on a hunger strike in support of Gaza. Look at her. I mean, look at her in this photo. Literally looks like a wicked witch. HBO Sex and the City star Cynthia Nixon says her transgender child, whose grandparents were Holocaust survivors, is on a hunger strike in support of Gaza. Nixon's 28-year-old daughter, who identified as male and goes by the name Steph Moses, of course, is on a hunger strike right now in support of Gaza in the ongoing Israel-Hamas war, the actress told Newsweek. He and five other of his compatriots are doing a hunger strike in Chicago since Monday for Gaza. Nixon, who is last known for her role as Miranda Hobbs on a long-running series Sex and the City, said. Nixon went on to describe her daughter, or her son, a University of Chicago graduate, as a quiet, observant Jew who very steeped in Jewish voices of peace. Wow. And a group that describes itself as Jewish anti-Zionist organization. Wow. Wow. I got a few Jewish people that watch me. Is there anywhere in any of the books of the law that you've read that said that this is right in any way, shape, or form? I don't think so. But this is the problem that we're dealing with. And this is the push towards full-on iniquity. You know, there's sin, there's transgression and iniquity, right? So there's sin, there's transgression of the law, of God's law, which means you repeatedly doing the opposite of what God's law is. And then there's iniquity, which means you make a home in this place where you continue to sin and transgress, right? And iniquity is what's passed on to generation to generation to generation. What you're seeing is iniquity in Hollywood. It's got past the point where it's just sin and transgression. Now it's iniquity. My son identifies as this, and it becomes iniquity because then the parents are in full on support of it. And this is one of those videos, if you don't really care to have like the deep dive from the spiritual aspect, then hit the button, get the hell on. We're going to keep it moving. The point I'm making is, this is like, imagine like a vaccine of iniquity that's trying to be injected into the United States of America, and Jesus Christ is the skin of the nation. But they keep trying to inject it into the nation. So you have it injected culturally, right? Then we come over here, and here's another form of it. Blue States Blues, Karen Bass fights harder for illegals than she ever did for residents, right? In this version of Iniquity is what I would call it's the socialism and communism, which is it's anti-work, and it's, put it like this, anti-work and it's lawlessness, right? Imagine the American people as the body of Christ, and all these things are trying to be injected into that body. And California is like a finger. California has been injected with everything. And so now we're trying to get rid of it. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass looked doomed politically after her Palisades fire, but she is attempting to come back by championing the cause of rioters against immigration and customs enforcement. Immigration and customs enforcement. Bass has been a whirlwind of activity ever since the black-clad anarchists started throwing bottles at police 2 weeks ago over ICE raids on criminals who were illegally in the United States of America. I love how they actually say what it is. If she had fought this hard for homeowners in Pacific Palisades, perhaps more people would be rebuilding by now. It is surreal to watch Bass and other Democrat politics unite behind the riots, mostly peaceful protests.
Just think about the human toll for a minute. Your husband, your wife, your kid goes to work or school, and the child doesn't know whether the parent will be home when they come home. The parents don't know whether they will be allowed back. Father's Day was Sunday. We had missing fathers in the city where people do not know where they are. The human toll, the economic toll. I was in a central part of the Mexican-American community on Father's Day, and it was a ghost town. People were not in restaurants. They were not at the town center. And this is not just Latinos who are being detained. Asians are being detained. And frankly, given that we are a city of immigrants and immigrants from all countries, anybody is subject to being detained, and that's why it's created a pall over the city of fear.
As if they had not lost their last election, partly because of this mishandling of the border. On Thursday, Bass promoted a fake news story on several historical rumors pushed by Democrats that ICE agents had shown up at Dodger Stadium. Listen, when we start talking about Karen Bass has long been a communist. Long been a communist. And then I've talked about this in my videos before, where we've seen that demonic smile on Karen Bass's face. California is occupied territory, and it's occupied by Satan. Let's just keep it real. It's occupied by Satan. And what's happening right now is a war is being waged into that territory. Raids are being conducted into that territory. And it's no different than what would happen if, let's say, you had a bunch of rats, right, in a building, and you mark one rat that you had to extract out of that building, but it's millions of rats, and you going in and you extracting a rat. First of all, they start to scramble and flee. Then after a while, they figure out you're taking us. Then they're going to start trying to fight back. We are extracting from this rat-infested hellhole that is called California. And to be clear, there will be people who say to me, well, James, not everybody in California is that way. That is true. And there's people who say, well, y'all need to pray for us in California. That is true. But the simple fact of the matter is, what I'm saying is true too. Not every place in California is a Democratic hellhole. But not every place is not a Democratic hellhole. And there are places that are Democratic strongholds where a bunch of bullcrap is going on. I.e., this is why we get videos like this. And so we have to deal with the reality of what's right in front of us. The spiritual nature of what's in front of us, the battles that lay out before us. And we got to be honest about it. Now, I'll say this about the president that I voted for. And I'm not ashamed to tell you I voted for Donald Trump multiple times. He's a much more honorable man than I will ever be. Because after you tried to bust my head to the white meat, and then you constantly just antagonizing me over and over and over again, I would have been broke out the heart attack gun.
Have you brought with you some of those devices which would have enabled the CIA to use this poison for We have indeed. For killing people. Now, does this pistol fire the dart?
Yes, it does, Mr. Chairman. However, it works by electricity. There's a battery in the handle, and it fires a small dart.
And the dart itself, when it strikes the target, does the target know that he's been hit and about to die?
That depends, Mr. Chairman, on the particular dart used. There are different kinds of these flechettes that were used in various weapon systems, and a special one was developed which potentially would be able to enter the target without perception.
Yeah, the heart attack gun would have been broke out on Karen Bass. The heart attack gun would have been broke out on Gavin Newsom. It would have been obvious, because it would have been Monday, Gavin Newsom, Tuesday, Karen Bass, Wednesday, Brandon Johnson. You're like, damn, how all these people had heart attacks in the same week? It'd have been heart attack week. And I'd have been just on the air holding conversations, heart attack, heart attack, heart attack, heart attack. And we would just deal with this problem. And we would deal with it in a manner in which they'd be like, well, we going to impeach him. You know what? After I got through dealing with all these people, then I would just admit that I was wrong. I would just say I did it. And we'll just get this done with. It'd just be over with. You know what I'm saying? But he's a much better man than I am. Anyway, if you like the video, hit the like button and subscribe button, and we'll see you on the next one.